All right, we are the American Red Devils. We are live talking about Manchester United, all the transfer news, all the rumors that are going on this week. Sir, how are we doing?
How we doing? How we doing? Good to be back. We're live again, second time. No updates. Lots of updates, lots of news, lots of smoke swirling, but no concrete. Here we goes. No ins, no outs. And Bumo still dragging. Brentford playing hardball. You know, their CEO is like, hey, it's not impossible that he could stay at the club next year. And all the bluffers, you know, around and around they go. No one's landed yet, but also no one's landed in the striker musical chairs, right? So Arsenal have not picked their number 9, which might dictate our number 9. But either way, you know, Club World Cup is about to come to a close. Gold Cup about to come to a close. You would think things would really start getting hot and heavy in July, sir. But United, a lot of smoke, not enough fire. How are we feeling?
No, I mean, our boys, Sir Jim Wilcox, we got to get something going here. There is a little bit. So July 2nd was the big date. That's when PSR resets ultimately. And at the end of the day, United need to start going, right? PSR is reset. We got a clean slate. Let's get Sancho off the books. Rashford, Bayern rumors, Hoyland sale rumors, Ollie Watkins out of nowhere. Like you said, we haven't heard anything on Yorkeresh or Osimhen. Now Ollie Watkins. It looks like, you know, they're starting to gear up. The Mbumo deal, heard a third bid rumored going in today. I mean, this is a lower tier source. So there is activity, but we're just warming up, and it's July. Preseason's in 17 days. How are we feeling with just one deal done? Preseason, 17 days. Can you believe it?
And I think at this point, you'd be optimistic to assume more than having 2 deals done. And Bumo being the only one that feels close, and that's still been dragging for over a month. If you remember, the 2nd of June, it was announced, I think, by Sky Sports that Mbumo did prefer United. That's the club he wanted to join. Like you said, we've had 2 bids turned down. There's apparently a third bid coming. Usually, you know, we've seen this enough before. We know they both want a conclusion. You know, Brentford will take the money. We want the player. The player wants to join us. I think now they're just trying to get to the final details around, you know, what's the fee? I would imagine he's going to edge the Cunha deal slightly just because he has the higher goal tally with those penalties that he took this season. Both really, really exciting players, but it's more about the time. We spent a lot of time on this one signing, and they're going one at a time. But at the same time, it seems like all of our future signings are dependent on sales, which also haven't happened. So the fact that we're going to take a little bit longer on a boom might not matter, but you're not going to be in a situation that we all wanted for Ruben Amorim, which was him showing up with as many new players for the summer tour, which we know is important. He didn't get a summer tour last year. You had as many of his new lads or any lads there, and it looks like we're going to be – this window feels like we're going to be working it late because we have so many sales to do that, like, if you're going to move Sancho, if you're going to move Rashford, if you're going to move Anthony, that's going to take a while. That's not all going to be buttoned up this month. So this shit's probably going to drag all the way until September 1st.
We saw this squad, sans Cunha, not play well in the European final against a bad Tottenham side, need reinforcements. This manager has talked about needing reinforcements. And here we are. I thought, realistically, how many players do you think we would already have over the line
3.
by now? I thought 3.
I thought 3.
3 with some solid outs.
At least one out. At least like, one of the bluffers out.
Some solid outs, or even just like, hey, we're going to get them out the door. We got nothing. And it's like, it feels like the same old United. Look, we could go through the same hype cycle that we've done before, which is essentially, all right, Cunha's going to just save us. He's going to be the best player ever. We're going to completely change. We're going to come out absolutely steaming under Ruben Amorim. And, you know, I hate to say that, you know, I might be a glass half empty guy, but man, you got to show me some change. And change could be a great preseason, but we've seen false dawn preseasons before. We saw LVG like destroy Real Madrid, go undefeated, and then have a horrible season, get fired. So we're looking for something here, and I need Ineos to show me that they're going to be, or at least lead the footballing operations to take us to the promised land, which includes smart deals, turning over the squad. You brought in Amorim. He needs a lot of new players to play this system. You can't bring him in if you do not give him that. This summer is where the rubber meets the road for Ineos. The whole sandwich that they did, bringing Amorim when they did and needing to back him, it all has to be this summer. And we're already 17 days from preseason. I'm nervous. Feels like we got too much to do, just like United always does. I don't know. I'm just nervous about this summer.
I mean, as we should be. We have the worst season in 50 years, and the Premier League only gets more competitive every year. Look at the team that won the league. They're fucking strengthening. They've got 5 players in. They're moving players out as well.
Scary.
No, it's just, and then, all the teams below us, they're buying. So we need to be on the front foot, like you said. Now, one thing you said in the last pod, which is
3 of the
much
teams
true.
below us are no longer in the league.
Yeah, so the other 2. Spurs have bought more players. And here's the other team.
So
Wolves.
I get what you mean, but
Wolves
like,
could get
there's only
relegated.
2 teams below us still in the league. So
Well, technically, I placed the Leeds, the Burnley, and who's the third team below us at the moment. So we got to get things happening, but at the same time, you know what? You don't judge transfer window 1/3 of the way in. So they have time, but we needed these deals in early because this team is still coalescing around a new vision, around a new manager, and he hasn't enough time together, not going from one game to the next. So a lot of work to be done, a lot of sale-dependent signings. At least getting Mbumo in, he's basically going to be like the 2 of them are going to be 67% of your new attack. Who do you stick up at number 9? I like the Ollie Watkins rumor, but you're going to need more than that. Even with a rip replace of Højlund, if you send him to Inter, which sure, that seems to be the way things are going, not rated by the manager, had a terrible season last year, you're still going to need more than just Ollie Watkins. We need at least 2 legit
you need
strikers.
3.
Yeah,
you
but
need Højlund,
you don't
Ollie
need
Watkins,
3 because you don't
and
have
a
Europe
guy.
next year. You need Højlund and at least a Watkins with Mbumo and Cunha who could score
We're not
goals.
a relegation fighting squad.
We are.
We're Manchester United.
Yeah, I'm aware.
So we need 3 killers.
Good luck.
Højlund's
Cheeto.
basically like, put me in there, coach. I mean, honestly. Look, let us know in the comments. Drop some comments below. Are we being irrational? Are we too nervous? Are you nervous?
Are we not nervous enough?
Yeah. Because, I feel like it's the same cycle we go through every summer where it's like, all right, red meat, Cunha and Buema, but are we fixing the real issues? And then why did Ineos bring in Amram if he needed a full rehaul and they're not going to give it to him? And also, a question for you, sir. Did bringing in Amram halfway through a season, because he didn't want to come. Amram wanted to come in a preseason to institute a system. Bringing him halfway through and seeing how it went, do you think that damages Amram as far as the locker room is concerned if Ineos can't move out a bunch of these players?
It certainly doesn't help. There's not a lot of reasons for them to get behind the manager in terms of what we saw on the pitch. We don't know what the guy's like outside the pitch, behind the closed doors. We've heard he's a hard ass, but at the same time, dealing with the former club at Sporting, players loved him. Players would run through a brick wall for him. So I'm sure there is an element of that, but at the same time, we have too much bluffer, too high of a bluffer ratio. And until we get some of these players out, and that's the problem. Every year, every summer, it's the same thing. They can't get off these wages. You can't get the Sanchos and Rashards, the ones that are killing you. Højlund being the starter is not the main problem. But those guys who you're paying $400K a week to do fuck all and go play in Birmingham, that ain't good for nobody. That kills you. And we need to get them out, even if it's a cut rate deal. And the Sancho deal, it's better than no deal. You have to get him out, even though you're making £5 million. Basically, it's a nothing deal. But we just have to get him out because they're a distraction. And we here are talking once again about getting rid of Jadon Sancho and Anthony. And every window has been a clear out for the last, half a decade.
I thought with Ineos, we were getting pragmatism. A solution, someone who could say, you know what, the nonsense stops. We're going to build it from here. We're going to do it the right way. I do not know. This feels more just like the Glazer continuum. Obviously, the Glazers are responsible for the debt, all the problems that Ineos have to deal with, right? But this whole last summer, 200 million for Ten Hag, who sank the ship, and then Amram now, and then leaving it late again when we need more, arguably a higher turnover ratio in the squad than we ever needed before to play a new system with this manager. So can Amram figure it out? Absolutely. Can you get the vibes going in preseason? Sure. But I just feel like I've been burned so many times by this manager cycle where we're getting players for a new manager. We don't have the team that he exactly needs. So then he starts making excuses and the players are pointing fingers, and we just need to break that wheel. We need to break that system, sir. Just like they say in the Game of Thrones, we need to break the wheel, destroy it, and then move on. Manchester United, I can't imagine we could do worse than we did last year. I really can't.
If we do, we're going to championship, bro. We're going to the championship.
Hey, we'd win. We'd probably win some things in the championship. But let's jump into the news proper. We're talking about your boy, Rasmus Højlund. Rumors are that he's heading out this summer per Laurie Whitwell it is tier 1. He's saying, looking more likely than not, Højlund gets dealt. I can't believe anyone would pay us anything to get him.
I can. I mean, he doesn't fit the bill of those other players. He doesn't have a bad attitude. He's not on crazy wages, and he's 22 years old, and he's 6'3". So he had a horrible season last year. He had a decent first season. But once again, we set a player up to fail. So I wish him well. I think he will do well in Italy, where he broke on the scene in the first place. If you bring in a Watkins, okay, that certainly breaks the Ineos resale value approach. But clearly, Ruben Amorim doesn't rate him. We're going all in on Ruben Amorim, and I was going to actually ask you: does it keep making sense to like go all in on a manager and not just have a manager who can play with the players they have available? Because the whole time we had Ten Hag, he was talking about he didn't have the right players, and something tells me that when we don't get Ruben Amorim the players he needs, he might be saying the same thing. So Højlund, it makes sense. I still think like you could get 35 million for him because, like I said, he's young and he will do well in a lower league, like in Italy, like a Spain. But Premier League, bro, it's a big step up, especially when you're expected to start 34 games a year. And like, how did that go? Horribly. So,
damn, Excuse Factory is working overtime for Højlund over here.
I'm shooting straight.
Like,
this is balls and strikes, bro.
They're like,
balls and strikes, bro.
Excuse Factory is cranking out
balls
the
and strikes.
Højlund. Like, can do no harm. Like, he hasn't played poorly. I mean, he has not only played poorly for Manchester United, he's played poorly for Denmark. He's played himself out of a position for Denmark. Hasn't scored for them, got dropped. Like, he's showed up at United, gave us the same old. I would argue he regressed, got even worse. He's like out there seeing ghosts at the end of the day. And I just kind of feel that, Højlund, I don't need to keep beating the Højlund horse, as you will.
But you will. Nothing this guy likes more.
He should be when we sign him, wasn't hot on the valuation. He should be number 3 in the list of strikers, and he should be shown some cup games and probably would do well in a side that had it all figured out, but he's not the guy. And I'm surprised that people think that he can be the guy, at least for them. And so sell him right away. I saw there was some crocodile tears for Højlund. Like, we should keep on to him. Like, if anyone will pay you anything for him, you send him away.
I don't know what universe you heard me say that he played well. I want to like diagnose that, like fucking read the script again. I'm much more loyal to United players than this guy. This guy's ready to throw the baby out in the bathwater.
We're 15th.
He should have
15th.
No, we're first, bro. There are no points.
15th.
The season started over. It's July 2nd. New
15th.
PSR window.
15th.
It's all started over. I'm not saying that like Højlund's the guy, but we should have never expected a 20-year-old that's now 22 to be the starting number 9 for Manchester United. They should have been 3 better. Attackers, and I'm not saying he shouldn't have been better, but don't say that the club didn't let him down, bro.
Getting heated over Højlund.
I'm calling balls and strikes because I bet he goes and does pretty well in Italy. And at the end of the day, we still need 3 strikers, like you said. 1 for 1 with Watkins. Yeah, he's much better than Rasmus Højlund, but he's 30. He's going to be 30 this year, and we still need 2 more strikers. So you're still in a pickle. I know you have Mbeumo. I know you have Cunha. They're goal scorers. You can push them out of position into number 9. Play Ahmad up there. Play Garnacho when we can't sell him. But all I'm saying is he is young, and sometimes it takes a striker a little bit longer to hit the ground running. So wish him luck.
2 years is like
wish him luck.
You get 2 years. You get these opportunities to play for United. He should have been better. Like, if he was playing better for Denmark or in some other system, I could see it. I just feel like at United, he was like wrestling the center backs. He wasn't trying to get into pockets of space. Clearly he's getting instructions from Amorim. He struggled. And look, he could do well with a senior striker ahead of him. I totally agree. Now, the idea that we're going to sell him and then get Ollie Watkins in and only play with 1 striker, it's like, are you crazy? I'd rather have him and Ollie Watkins than just 1. So I'm definitely there with you. But if you can get, like, say, 25 for Højlund, that is good money that you should take to 25. The bank. That's like a solid
25?
foist. That's an all-time foist.
No, you'd be crazy. I think you need both. I think because you'd be crazy to run back with just 1 striker. We did it last year, and we finished in 15th place. How did that go? See you later, Rasmus Højlund. But we need 2. So at the end of the day, like if you're spending £60 million for Ollie Watkins and we're selling him for 25 to Italy, that's not a good deal, bro.
Yeah, well, let us know in the comments. What do you think of Højlund? Am I being way too harsh? I probably am being harsh, but I am getting quite.
This guy studied abroad in Denmark. I don't know. I thought you'd be like,
getting you fired up.
I
love getting you fired up, and Højlund's one of those players. Agile Beast 21. He says he's come a long way since that Arsenal match where he bullied Gabriel. He did play well there. And Icy, how are you doing? He says, chug, chug goes the excuse factory. Look, somebody Glass half empty John over here needs to be checked by the excuse factory. So, good on Alex.
Oh, wait till it's November. We're going through another manager. We have Graham Potter swooping into Old Trafford.
Hey, but this is wheeling and dealing for Minios. If they can get Hoyland, get some money, get two bodies in at striker, I will take
Watkins
it.
is an upgrade for sure, right? But you do need a couple. Let's talk about Ollie Watkins, sir. Like you said, 60 million pounds. Apparently this broke today. It's only from the Mirror, but Laurie, I think that one of the heavies backed it up, but they're saying 60 million pounds for the 29-year-old striker from Villa. Villa apparently trying to foist a couple players on us. The Emmy Martinez one never really was corroborated by anyone other than the agents. Felt like an agent talk. This is a player that I like, but you still need more. I would still rather an Osimhen. He's got 3 years younger, and he's a little bit more dynamic. But Ollie Watkins fits the bill of the other two lads that we're working on, or we brought one in and moving to the other. He is EPL proven. Those two in Mbeumo and Cunha are hitting their max. He's kind of on the dip, right? And leaving his top form glory years. So my concern is he's a good player, but you still need some youngsters. I guess you have Cheeto, but you need another one if you're going to get Ollie. But what do you think about Watkins joining United? He looks like a United player, to be fair.
He does, but that's quite the price. Everybody's going to get 60 million pounds from Manchester United, and this is what's kind of driving us nuts a little bit here. And, is he worth 60 million? Let's look at the advanced stats here. I just put your boy Hoyland in to compare to Ollie Watkins just to give you an idea. The excuse factor is protecting this guy. I don't think that circle get much.
Why don't we do an actual comp? Show me Victor. One of the Victors.
But
you could make that circle smaller. Look at that fucking thing, bro.
Is he even playing, bro?
Yeah, is he goalie?
Okay. So Ollie Watkins. What stands out to you is number one, he beats Hoyland in pretty much all stats, just having a laugh, but passes to the box. Obviously he's not outside the box. His XG very high, non-penalty XG very high, not an aerial threat, doesn't really receive passes, and his X assists are decently high. So he's in the 72nd percentile. And look, he played a solid amount of minutes, about 2,800 for Aston Villa. Decent striker. Obviously, you need those goals, sir. He's in 84th percentile for non-penalty goals. It's what Manchester United need. He is a threat in the box. Much better than Hoyland. So, again, if you can get Hoyland out for 25, Ollie in for 60, I might have a gripe about the price, but look at the upgrade on the stat sheet.
Show me Gyökeres. That would be the comp to do because we're hearing that his fee's around 60. I know he overpaid.
It's going to be better than Ollie Watkins because it's not the
but then we just need some kind of comp that's not like Hoyland, who basically was on the bench the whole time.
Yeah, similar profile to Ollie Watkins, but just exceeding, and that's probably the difference between
the Portuguese
England
league and the EPL.
Portuguese league. But at the end of the day, Ollie Watkins would be an upgrade for me. It's about the valuation, given his age and sell-on value.
The fee is everything. I think if you could get him for 40 million pounds for a 29-year-old who could probably play at the top level for another 3 years. His injury record is pretty good. His consistency is in terms of goal scoring is pretty good. But at the same time, dude, he's not worth 60 million the same way you can justify Cunha and Mbeumo being worth 60 million. They are very much worth it. We're paying right on market price. If you paid 60 million to Villa, dude, they're getting a great deal off you.
40 plus add-ons.
Exactly.
We got to get a little frisky. 60 though. If you're talking, we need bodies more than anything. I killed Wout when he was at Manchester United, but I would honestly take a Wout Weghorst back at Manchester United.
Replay the tape, bro. Replay the tape. This guy, you fucking hated him more than Hoyland, bro.
You need players. And just a quick comment in the chat here from Agile Beast 21. 60 million for a soon-to-be 30-year-old is not the right direction. Good player, but he is correct. This is breaking the Ineos model. It is top dollar. That makes me, you can't pay more than really 40 or 50.
40 should be max.
For that 30. Age,
He's not fucking Harry Kane, bro. He's good. He's a good player.
That's a great point.
He's got, like I said, he's probably got 3 more years left at the level, but it's all about value on this one. He would look, like I said, he'd be a great Manchester United player. I don't think the jersey would weigh heavy on him. But we have so many priorities.
Sir, what if he didn't score? You would,
I always sir, you're
I'm not,
glass,
sir. There's a certain striker you got to hit. He would have to hit the ground running. There's a certain type of player.
He would, and I think he would. He'd score 15 goals.
He would be better than what we currently have. And I think maybe we're in the beggars can't be choosers category right now. And if we get Cunha and Bumo and then you have Ollie Watkins, can you really complain about that attack upgrade compared to last year? Probably not. And we'll probably see much more goals, which is ultimately why we want to watch the game.
Well, that's like a top 5 attack. That's not that's not like if you got Victor Osimhen, that would probably be top 2 or 3 attack. But at the same time, you're going to need, I know we don't have Europe, but you're still going to need another striker that's not Cheeto Obe. Cheeto's a fucking kid. He's, what is he, 18? If that, he's not even turned 18 yet. So the only problem is I'm all for Ollie Watkins for Rasmus Højlund, but you still need another striker.
And Matthew Fox, shout out to you. Watkins, I believe, would be a pure profit for Villa. If Garno goes the other way for 50, can we do a PSR boosting deal like these other clubs do? Yes.
Why are we not selling our women's team to some holding company like Villa just did? And Chelsea did before that.
Well, it's about to be made illegal. Moving on to less exciting topics, but encouraging on the outgoings and just sort of cleaning up the house. Jadon Sancho, as you can see here from this photo, likes a sandwich. And
He looks like he does. All his photos, I mean, I'm not one to talk, but he never looks in shape.
No. Well, you're not being paid $350K a week to be in shape. This is from Alfredo Padua. This is around tier 3. He says a full agreement between Sancho and Juventus is now close. The deal will accelerate in the next few days. Juventus and United are aligned with a £25 million fee. And the rubber meets the road with the wages. We owe Sancho around £18.5 million, if you can believe it. The question is, how much of this $25 million fee are we paying to Jadon Sancho? My guess would be a good portion of it because he's going to get a pay cut as he goes to Juventus. And that difference is going to have to be made up by Manchester United over the next year.
Yeah, so if they agree to, say, a $10 million contract for the next 3 years instead of his, $19 million that he has now, would that mean we would just lose $9 million from the fee and we get, $16 million all day and go buy? Couldn't even buy Dogu again. So this is just about getting him off the books, about freeing up the spot, freeing up the wages, and just moving on with your life. We're not getting any PSR boosts.
Moving on.
We have to. I mean, that's what we have to cut our losses, like Donny van de Beek, and just give them away. And this is a borderline giveaway deal. So like you said, we're going to figure out how much of this fee we can actually use. But like you said, it's probably 10 to 15 million max.
Look, it's just going to be a good day. Hopefully this is a sign of new things to come when we can start clearing the dead wood off the books. Hopefully behind Sancho comes Marcus Rashford. Like there's rumors about him going to Bayern Munich. If we can start getting these players off the books and we can start focusing on players who are actually going to play for Manchester United instead of players who we need to get rid of. And Chris Steve says sandwich must go. And Agile Beast 21 sandwich Sancho free or best offer as long as you come pick him up, sir. So Sancho,
pay his bills. Pay his bills. That's all we ask. Just cover his very, very robust internet fee. Wherever he goes, he's a big gamer. He's got to have the best internet possible because that seems to be what he cares about most, more than playing football.
If you come pick him up, you got to pick him up in a private jet, though.
Clearly.
And Juve, interesting angle. They're kind of picking up the Pogbas and the Sanchos of the world, which is an interesting, getting them for cheap, right? We paid, 72 million pounds under Ed Woodward and going to be selling him for 25 and then paying him basically to leave. So definitely a rough go with Jadon Sandwich. And next article here we're going to jump into is Marcus Rashford, Bayern Munich. These are rags. Like, we got to say it. Like, the tier is very low here. There is gossip around Bayern Munich, 40 million pounds. I think this is a good, Rashford for 40 is a good deal.
Dream deal. That's a dream. That's a dream. It's PSR boost times 3.
Totally. And if you could sell Rashford for 40 and get Sancho off the books at whatever it takes, Manchester United will be sitting pretty. And unfortunately, it's these sells that are going to determine who we're going to buy. There's also the resales of Alvaro Fernandez. Mason Greenwood is also an option, and those could generate cash for Manchester United. So all these outgoings and resales are going to determine really what our net PSR basis is going to be, and that's how frisky Ineos is going to. So we're the sell to buy right now, and we got to be cheering for Bayern Munich to buy Marcus Rashford for 40 million.
This would be a dream deal because Bayern have money. Bayern have shown an aptitude and an appetite to buying players, spending money. Right, obviously Harry Kane, Eze. They know what they're doing. Excuse me, Elise. they're the top team, and he has delusions, grandeur of delusions that like he should be playing only at a team equal to United in terms of our status on the global stage or higher, and that's very few clubs are higher. Probably just the two kings of Spain in Barcelona and Madrid, which he's already flirted with very openly around Barca, and the only one that compares probably is Bayern Munich. They have the money. It doesn't feel like they're kind of moved given the options they already have. And the wages that he would demand, but it would be a dream move for United because Barcelona are already like getting, kind of slapped back by La Liga around the other players that they're trying to sign. So I can't imagine they have the money to bring on Rashford's wages. Whereas Bayern, they have money. It's a one-team league, and I'm sure the player wouldn't say no to Bayern Munich.
No, he shouldn't. He'd be crazy if he did. We've been hearing the Barcelona rumors, but Barca's not going to pay up for him. And there's a player there. Marcus Rashford is a player. I might be having to go at Højlund. It's like, who knows what Højlund is ultimately at the end of the day. But Rashford is a player. The problem with Marcus Rashford is Marcus Rashford. And that's like horrible to say. And it's horrible to hear. And it's like, it sucks. It's like, I think he didn't play horribly at Aston Villa. We saw him come on as a sub against Brentford when we were over in the UK last year on our trip. And he looked good. He's got pace. He is an elite athlete, but I think mentally he hasn't been there. He struggled off the pitch. We saw him going, where was he at? Some Irish club somewhere in Belfast,
China White, baby. China White.
Clearly there's other things going on with Marcus Rashford, and I wish he could sort it out and come back to United. This is the one player that has gone south that I kind of feel bad about. Sancho's like, see ya. Garnacho, that's like Rashford, Garnacho, probably more of the players that I would wish we could sort it out and bring them back because they're good players. Like Garnacho will be good. Rashford will be good if they can sort out these like egos, I think.
No, Rashford, the way Rashford turned out is tragic because he's such an unbelievable player from a young age. He's performed time and time again. Even in this season, if you look early on, he scored some really good goals, even as Ruben Amorim was coming to the club. So he's been through a lot. He's obviously I don't think he's got the best people around him, but at the same time, we've had a lot of turnover in this club. It's been very volatile for any kind of player, especially a player who's been here since he was under the age of 10. So if he could find his feet elsewhere, I think if he was on $200K a week, he would have already moved. He would have moved to Villa.
Paid him so much money.
Elsewhere. No, but we gave him these big fucking contracts, and then they're unsellable. And that's the one thing that United has to figure out going forward is once we've gotten these big contracts off your back, that's probably why they don't want to do a deal for a Victor Osimhen because they're afraid of taking on another $400K a week because if that goes south, we've seen how hard it is to sell a player versus, I think we'll be able to get rid of Anthony. The problem is the club that wants him ain't got no money, but he at least is on huge wages. So there's probably nothing in this, but Bayern, please do us a favor.
It's hope.
Please do us a favor.
What this
we
is?
Need something.
This is hope. Agile Beast 21. 40 for Rashford would be great, but I'm not convinced in this transfer rumor. And Chris Steves hits the nail on the head as well. Bayern has too much talent. This rumor is rubbish. Look, it comes from the Sun. It's a rag. It's tier 4, tier 5. So we're not putting a lot of stake in it. But you'd be surprised. Sometimes the gossip kind of starts the smoke. And then, the Whitwells kind of hear something down the line. So I'm going to put very little stake into it. But it's good for Manchester United that the papers are printing someone's paying money for him so that other clubs think someone's paying money
Bayern's
for him.
For him.
So, exactly. That's ultimately what we need is you need to somehow foist him onto some club for 40 million. You can't go lower than that for Marcus Rashford. There's a player there.
He is good. He's not even that old. He's 26.
Dude, it's the injury that killed him. The injury really is what killed him.
And they missed out on Europe. If they'd done Champions League, I think this deal might have happened.
But it helps other teams pay more for him if he didn't get injured and say it was just a Villa problem why they couldn't pay up. And I think swap deal with Rashford could get frisky, right? Why not swap him for Watkins?
Because then we don't get the PSR boost, right? We need that.
I know this accounting
money.
game is getting
nonsense.
a little crazy at the end of the day. But
I take it for Watkins all day. But but also remember, he said he didn't want to go to Villa. He said I only want to play Champions League football. And he's also I think he was a little disrespectful about how he treated Villa, which isn't helping us out. So this is once again.
Wait, you're saying it's a pattern?
He doesn't have the best people around him. Maybe you gotta get your feet on the ground. What else is going on in the world of football, sir?
Sir, we got the Gold Cup. We're kind of getting into world football. It's summer. There's competitions going on. U.S. men's national team just beat Guatemala 2-1. Not the most convincing performance, but look, the U.S. men's national team, it's really a B team of sorts. A lot of senior players aren't starting for the U.S. men's national team. We like to watch it. We traveled to the World Cup. We were in Qatar, going to some great matches, sir. So we're big U.S. men's national team fans when the international competitions come along. We've been to the Gold Cup final before with the U.S. and Jamaica, I believe, long time ago. And look, final, United States men's national team is in it. It's in Houston. Mauricio Pochettino, coach you did not want coaching Manchester United, now coaching the U.S. men's national team. How we feeling?
Stand by that all day.
How are we feeling?
He wanted to go to Brentford. He's like, he was flirting with Brentford a couple of weeks ago. Hey, I'm rooting for him. He's definitely an upgrade versus the clown show, like the weirdo U.S. soccer. Like everybody knows everybody's brother, sister. That was all fucking weird. And you finally brought some new blood in. You brought in an Argentine who's coached in the top leagues in the world instead of just like some fucking dude that was brothers with the COO of U.S. soccer. So I like that. His track record, I think he's still finding his feet around who his dogs are. Like, what is the cohort of U.S. players that I can lean on in these tournaments? And I watched a little bit of the Gold Cup. That guy who scored twice today shows some real edge. And I think United has lacked that edge for a long time. So I'm rooting for him, but you got to win. You got to win finals. And it could be a U.S.-Mexico final in Houston, which would be tasty. So we'll see. Worth keeping your eye on. And look, Mexico just went up 1-0 against Honduras. That would be a frisky final in Houston. Maybe they'll finally sell out the stadium. They probably will, given it's Houston.
Yeah, so last time we beat Mexico in the final of the Gold Cup. Again, this is a B team, but there's some dogs in it. I really like these players. Freeze, the goalkeeper, was lights out in penalties against Costa Rica, and then he looked like completely out of sorts against Guatemala, but it's a bit of a ragtag group. You're not getting the ones for the World Cup, but I feel like there's some scrappy guys in here that will feature in the World Cup. And also the stadiums look great. The competition looks great. And it's just funny, get a U.S.-Mexico final. Everybody's up for it. It's going to be this Sunday if Mexico retains the lead. Just looking at the chat here.
AC Stadium. I like that. Yeah, Luna, absolutely. Diego Luna is a dog. Looks to be the type of player that you want to build the United States around going
Face
forward.
tattoos,
we need
like
an edge,
neck
bro.
tattoos,
Edge.
you know,
He's
like
got an
that.
edge. He's
Yeah.
got a bite like Mateus Cunha, and the United States have lacked that edge for a long time. So shouldn't be as muggy as some of these finals or some of these games in the Gold Cup. So they've been complaining about the weather and all the thunderstorms. But like Agile Beast mentioned, AC Stadium in Houston. You got to have AC Stadium in Houston. Otherwise, not a lot of fun.
Yeah, so Eric Morales, he says, I'm hoping to go to some World Cup games since there's a ton of them up here in New Jersey. Meadowlands, shout out Meadowlands. It's going to be hot. There's no AC there. And Agile B says, yeah, Houston has AC. Should Jersey have an indoor stadium? Well, the thing is, because it's like NFL, outdoor, snow, cold. Like, I love it. I'm a Giants fan, Jersey, Meadowlands, it makes you tough. So in the summer, they're going to sweat. The World Cup Finals in New Jersey. Can you believe that? World Cup Finals.
Not a great
Jersey,
it's not
baby.
a great
Let's
stadium.
go.
I hate to say it. It's not a great stadium, but it should be a great game, and the fans will be up for it. I'm sure the parking lot's good fun, so they'll be up for it.
MetLife.
They probably do need a fucking dome on any
it's
stadium
like
because
outside,
the heat has gotten so hot. The summers now are a lot hotter than they were when we were growing up 20 years ago. So maybe the dome is how everybody's going. But this Mexico-Honduras semifinal will be one to watch. Anytime Mexico plays the United States in a final, it's frisky.
All right, FIFA Club World Cup. We talked about that on the podcast. Is anybody watching this competition? Just looking at where we stand, I have not really been watching it. I did see the Al Hilal City upset just from all the banter on Twitter. Unbelievable. You like to see Man City going down, especially Cherky crying.
Was he crying?
Didn't like he's like public enemy number one
Hates
is
us.
Cherky.
I know.
You know, like
I want to kill United.
I wanted to sign him. Like that was like a straight up Fergie signing.
Oh,
that was like a straight up playbook
30 million,
Fergie
dude.
signing. Bio clause, everything. This final is going to be July 13th. East Rutherford, Jersey, baby. Let's go.
More Jersey.
I think the best game we got going, there's two heavy games. Real Madrid, Borussia Dortmund, July 5th. East Rutherford, great game. And then again on July 5th, PSG, Bayern Munich. And look, the Brazilian team shining through. Palmeiras, Chelsea, that's going to be a great one. July 4th in Philly. Shout out Philly. And then Orlando, Fluminense, and Al Hilal. So a very eclectic bracket. You're going to have the winner of Real Madrid, Borussia Dortmund, PSG, Bayern. That's probably the strongest side of the bracket here. Who's your dark horse? Who do you think is going to win it?
You know, I think PSG are going to win it. That's like the simp answer, obviously, because they're the best team in the world right now, and they want that money. But I think the dark horse would be one of the Brazilian teams, like you said. You know, they look like to be in fine form. They don't look to be afraid of anybody, and they're well accustomed to the heat. You know, not all these other teams that are coming in from Europe are used to playing in this crazy humidity and this heat, but the Brazilians certainly are. So, you know, maybe Palmeiras as like a cheeky take, but then they have to get through Chelsea too. So maybe it's Fluminense, but
Al Hilal all day, baby.
yeah,
Let's go.
I'd like to see a Brazilian team make it to the final. That could be good fun. So it's not just like the same. You don't want to see like, come on, PSG,
You
Chelsea.
don't think the fix is in for the Saudis to like
That's
pay
why I
off
said,
the
why
refs?
couldn't we pay our way in? I thought Manchester United could pay off Infantino.
You got to qualify for this.
Yeah,
competition.
qualify with dough, bro.
Who's going to win it? Who's going to win it?
PSG.
Dark horse. I'm saying I'm going all Hilal all day. They should have bought Bruno Fernandes.
How dare you? This guy. It's a Manchester United podcast.
We needed money. We needed the money. We needed the money.
We relegated.
And then I got to go Madrid. Madrid, you know, I feel like they left the Champions League early. They play well at the end of competition. So let's go with Real Madrid to win it. Al Hilal, my dark horse, sir. Moving on to the memes. We found some good memes this week. Thought we would talk about them. Some are Club World Cup related. Let's go there first. I thought this was great. City versus Al Hilal. You were merely adopted oil. I was born in it. So is Al Hilal a success story? Doing well at the FIFA Club World Cup? You know, it's something we probably don't like. We laugh at the Saudi League. We don't take them seriously. But you look at that team. I started to look at it when the rumors of Bruno going there, and I was like, there's a lot of players that are playing at Al Hilal.
No, I mean, it's certainly good for Al Hilal. You know, it's putting them on the map. I think the Club World Cup needs stuff like this to happen because not a lot of people are paying attention. And when you have a big upset, even though, like you said, there's a lot of talent on the Al Hilal side, a lot of like has-beens and even players who could still have what it takes to play in a top 3 or 5 league. So good for them. But you know what? You're probably going to see even more of this as you have a run up into the Saudi World Cup. But anytime someone can have a laugh on City, that's okay with me. Even though they banked like 40 mil, bro. They banked 40 mil from just making it to the round of 16, which is like, we got to get into this tournament because, fuck, we went all the way to Southeast Asia to make 7.
And Eric Morales, yes, we know that you're the Discord mod from Jersey.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate
Jersey
you.
strong.
And then Chris Estes, Battle at the Swamp. Noel Lord says United won't be in top 6 next season.
Oh shit. Yeah, duh.
Does everyone else agree with that? Like, let us know what you think in the chat because top 6 United should be aiming for that.
We should be
at a
aiming
minimum.
for that.
At a minimum.
What the fuck are you talking? We finished 15th, bro. We almost got relegated.
No, but our goal should be to finish higher than top 6. Like that should be this. Like at least that's the goal. You have to get up there. At least
I think that's a very good aggressive goal. Also, with these signings are not getting you top 6 football. No way, given how competitive it is. So we need a lot more. We need players out. We need a couple strikers in. We need a new goalie.
And then we're going to do all that. We're going to do all that.
Okay,
and then,
you're assuming we're going to have a great transfer window.
Okay, so does Ruben? Okay, if you don't make top 6, does Ruben Amorim make it to the end of the year? You know, if we're going,
no.
You know, so that's really the.
I don't think it's top 6. I think it's like if you have to finish the top half of the table. We're not finishing the top 6.
Half of the table.
We finished 15th, bro. What do you expect this year?
We're Manchester United.
Yeah, keep saying that. Keep saying that. Keep saying it again. Maybe it'll come true. Maybe we'll get $100 million from the South.
Okay, big clubs in the past in the EPL, who like Chelsea that had a rough year, retooled, did well. Arsenal had a rough year, retooled, did well. Like there's usually a bounce back from a big club. Usually there's a bounce back. Usually we're not Sheffield United. We're not struggling at the bottom of the table. That's like usually the case. I'm not saying it will happen, but you know, that can happen.
I think if Ineos have a proficient window, like an A- or better window, then I could be talking. But right now we have one player in, we made no sells. Like, you know, we're talking about selling our only striker. I don't see it right now. And also like Ruben Amorim hasn't convinced me yet. Other than my bias as being a huge United fan, all in on United all the time. And of course, I back our manager. Like, he has not shown me that he has what it takes to adapt to the Premier League, given the team he has, right? And we're not going to be able to buy all the players he needs. So why the fuck would I have confidence he's going to finish in the top 6? I hope. But like, we need Victor Osimhen. We need a new goalkeeper. And you could probably use another number 6.
I need
oh
Osimhen.
If we were Osimhen with Cunha and Mbumo, we'd be like, okay, now I'm talking about Muppet Factory. Let's go.
Eric says he's got to head out. Need more of these live shows. That is the plan, Eric. We just figured it out. Barely got this thing set up and ready to go. At Torre da Corsa.
It's fun. I like this.
Funny because Man City director of football was being all smug about the rebuild being done in time for the Club World Cup. And, so look, City.
They're spending money. They're spending lots of money.
They're drowning. And I have a theory.
Okay.
I have a theory about City drowning. And that's just because it's the $1.15.
No way, bro.
Because
they're fucking skirting it.
No. So I agree. The outcome of the $1.15 is that they're going to skirt it in some way, but there will be a slap on the hand. But in an organization that's being challenged, it's the employees below that don't know what is going on, and they're unsettled. And that's why they kind of they're mush, because nobody knows what's going to happen with the club. Pep's trying to tell them everything's going to be okay, but they don't know it's going to be okay. And it's when it messes with the player's head. It probably messes with Pep's head. He's like, I'm going to have to take an untold L on my career if it comes out that this was cheating in any way, shape, or form. Everything he did with City is just going to get completely smeared, which is exactly what I need as a Manchester United fan to excuse the last decade of mediocrity for Manchester United.
As we look at this meme, I have no confidence that the team from Abu Dhabi, who's in bed with the Premier League, is going to get any kind of punishment. I hope they should. They need to. It's better for the league to not have this super team that's basically just juiced up on fake money. By the way, their P&L is absurd. It's like, it's so fucking phony.
It's real money, but it's just not
real
made
money,
from
but
football.
it's from their investor. It's like it's through sponsors that the country also owns a majority stake in. So let's go to the next meme, sir. Look at Arteta. He's happy.
This is great.
Is he getting fired this year? What's happening with him this year? If he doesn't win the league, I mean, like, eventually they got to figure out that he ain't it.
No, we talked about this with like United putting trash to Juve. Like, for some reason, clubs have these buying-selling relationships. It's something to watch. And Chelsea just selling players like Kepa to Arsenal. It's just very strange, the pipeline of trash that Arsenal and Arteta keep taking. I think Arsenal is an interesting club to watch. It's like, would you rather be us, or would you rather be them? Play really well and just not win it, or just play horribly and not even have to care about it? But it's an interesting position to be like.
The latter all day, bro. You'd want to be like getting really close and never just scratch.
No, but they like
rather suck.
Arteta's on the block.
He is,
and they're not going to win it. Like,
no, they're not.
Because whenever there's pressure, they fold, and he's not going to be able to handle
emotional.
this.
He's
like
a chick.
Like, we don't even have a clue how to win.
No, we're not even close.
We don't have to worry about winning. Yeah. We don't have to sweat title
I'll take
races.
their trash. Hey, we need Kepa. Kepa's better than fucking Onana.
We don't even have to talk smack to other fans.
No one
we don't
talks
have to
us.
worry about winning. We're just trying to score goals and not look horrible week in, week out. At the end of the day, being a Manchester United fan, it's decently simple these days. But look, please subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, we're starting to do some of these live shows weekly. This time slot works for us. We know it's not ideal for everyone, but this will be the first of many, and we're going to be doing some live streams as well during the season, watching games. We watch pretty much every game together anyway. Why not live stream the drama? Let's hope that Ruben Amorim has a plan. I'm betting that he has a plan. There's many ways you can support the podcast other than liking, subscribing. You could check out our annual fan survey. Please click on that link on our Twitter profile. You can also check out our store. We have a QR code here. You can scan that. You go to our store. You can buy some merchandise. You can also support us on Patreon, patreon.com/americanreddevils. We have a great website as well, americanreddevils.com. And, subscribe, and comment wherever you follow the podcast, sir. And we'll get through this, just like we got through this past season. I have to think Ruben Amorim is going to get something out of these bluffers, because seems like a pretty serious guy.
Hey, I'm rooting for him. We're all rooting for Ruben Amorim. Let's see what he can do when he has, I think, some of these negative personalities out the door, and a full summer preseason, with the boys getting a little bit of rest in the bank. So I'm excited to see what happens come, the 17th of July, right around the corner for our first game. Cannot wait for it. Let's be optimistic on the new season. Let's get some players in, Cunha and Boomer, that's a really good start, but now we got to start selling. We got to get that dead wood out, chop that wood, so we got a lot of it to do.
We just need to win, baby, win. Win at all costs. We're Manchester United. Everybody sings it, sir. Great song we're going to end on. Hopefully everyone has a great week. We'll drop the next podcast on Monday. Let's hope we get some signings in before then. Take care, everybody.
The Premier League to doubles because we are so good. We now set the standards up. The others have to follow. Steel for the nation.